Hello and welcome everyone to the Smart Marketer Show. I don't know if you all know this, but it's October. And Molly challenged me to wear a costume. Now, she wore a costume too. She wore a costume to our nice, small mastermind call, right? There were like, 20 people on, 30 people on, something like that. And she said, okay, I get to play the same game and wear my costume out of this call. It's going to have significantly more people. So I decided to accept the challenge. So I will not be pillaging any boats or castles. I will be delivering email, fax, and information in a clear and informative manner, but I might be sporting a leather jerkin, some sort of animal hide, and these horns. And here's the fun fact. I learned horns on your helmet, not actually an authentic Viking thing. That actually is originated from the Richard Wagner operas as a costuming choice. So ripple effect, which makes
What's
sense.
up,
I can't
Crime
imagine
Dog?
it'd be that helpful. What's up?
Sorry, we had some tech issues, but
All right, Molly
we are
stepped
here
up.
in
I'm
full
not alone now.
Michelangelo fashion. Let's go. Leonardo's in here frantically trying to make sure the video keeps working, but you guys will see him soon.
So I don't know anything about the Ninja Turtles other than the fact that they're ninjas and turtles. Is there some characteristic of the orange one that makes it a good fit for you, or are you just like all in on the name?
Okay, I asked this because this is a family costume, John. So Zach's, who is my cousin, his son Luca is 2. And Luca decided that we were going to be the Ninja Turtles. I think I got the M because of Molly, but I did look up Michelangelo's characteristics and I accept them. So yeah, I think
There you go.
Anthony said we all fit our assigned turtle pretty well.
Nice. Well, that's perfect. All right.
So
So if
now
any
I have an
crime happens,
excuse
we're
to go
ready.
eat pizza later today.
Yeah, I don't think I was just saying Paul has been coming up with reasons to come down to Kentucky. I think you're just allowed to eat pizza when you want to. You don't have to wear a costume, but maybe they'll give you a discount at the parlor if you show up looking like that. So,
All right. Well, Paul sent me a YouTube video of a turtle wrap. So that'll be my next project, John. Maybe next month we can do a turtle wrap.
there you go. All right. The next Ezra-fied Smart Marketer commercial is the Turtle Rap starring Molly Pittman as Michelangelo. I'm excited.
But hey, everybody, good to see you. Hello to everyone. Sandy, we saw you at Smart Marketer Live. I got stuck in an elevator with Sandy. I think John was there too.
Oh
So
yeah.
what a great memory. You never know who you're going to get stuck in an elevator with. So would you do it again, Sandy? Yes. Okay. But hi, everybody. Happy October. Happy Q4. I am here for moral support. So John has given the rundown of Q4 profit strategies for everybody. But I will be here in the comments as always.
Nice. All right. So I'm excited to dive in. What do Vikings do? They like to get that gold. So we are going to be getting that gold today out of our email inbox. There you go. You know what? Segues are my superpower. I'm really excited. This is a super fun topic. Some of our content today comes from one of our partners, Omnisend, a really awesome company. They have a tool that can do SMS, email, messages in the browser, all kinds of stuff. Really, really great platform that we've worked very closely with this year. And I had one of their team members, Greg, on a webinar with me a few months ago, and he created this amazing resource. And I was like, man, we need to get this out there to more people. So we will be diving into that today, among other things. So biggest thing, profit leak, right? Black Friday, Cyber Monday's coming up. And you know what people say every year? They say, man, it's gotten expensive to run a business this year. I have heard that every single year I've been doing this. It gets more expensive every single year. But I also keep hearing people are having their best and best Black Fridays. So there's plenty of opportunity to balance the scales, right? And finding opportunities to kind of catch that profit that's dripping out of the business, I think is super, super important. So we'll be sharing a resource from Omnisend backed by 24 billion sent emails. And I'll be kind of running through the key insights from it, but you guys can definitely grab it as well. We'll also have a 60-minute action plan, right? Something that you can get done in 1 hour that is going to set you up to have the best, most profitable Black Friday you possibly can from an emails perspective. Still got to build the pages, still got to have the great offers, but you know what? This is the engine that is going to drive the most affordable, most profitable traffic to that for sure. We're also going to have some cool case studies talking a little bit about some things you can use today. Really fast implementation beyond the 60-minute action plan. And as always, it's not a training with me without a bunch of swipes and downloads you can grab because you know what? I think I'm ChatGPT, Chat Grimshaw PT. Before this was the tool everybody used, I was trying to give people as many possible emails, templates, designs as they could get their hands on because it just makes it way faster. So you know what? We can get some of that agentic John brain in your hands. Hopefully, set you guys up to really get this knocked out super fast and go into the season having a great win. But as always, we want to start with how numbers don't lie. And you know what? I love this segment. I love talking about numbers. The truth is, numbers can lie because interpretation is really where numbers are made and broken. So I'm going to try to give you the most unbiased, honest accounting of where the opportunity is in email. And of course, classic numbers don't lie. I'm going to immediately challenge that statement. But you know what? That's just good marketing, right? Finding the us versus them, finding the way to break people's brains. But this is one thing that has been true for a long time: the power of email, right? I have been an email marketer in some shape or form for, it's getting to the point where it's kind of a notable number, right? So it's like 12 years that I've been doing this, 13 years that I've been doing email marketing in some capacity. And it keeps getting better. And that kind of makes sense, right? The ROI over time should go up in general because we've got some folks that are kind of the long tail who've been in this game for forever. But the truth is, a lot of this money gets realized in the immediate turn. And it's a function of just having huge, massive returns because email list is not a marketing channel, right? An email list is your fastest way to tell your best friends and best customers, hey, I got something I need you to do for me. If you needed to move out of your house, right? Imagine if you could text 1,000 people who would all come and carry one thing. That's basically what your email list does because it actually is people who are highly motivated to do the thing that you need. We got to strike a good balance, right? It can't always be pop out that wallet, but asking people to go read some content, to go like a video, to go check out a new thing you made, to go shop your amazing sale just works. And it's something that I think a lot of people are sort of, I wouldn't say nervous, but maybe imagining a state of flux, right? But the truth is, email's value is only growing as time goes on. This isn't something that is going to be over tomorrow. Email's value is exploding. So we think this revenue is going to grow, 286%. That is a crazy amount of lift. And it's borne up by historical data. It's not a function of email or SMS, email or push notifications, email or social. Email is just the best engine because you can catch all of these people who are warm, who are interested, who are brand aware, curious, and wanting to learn more about your company. All of the people who just bought one of your products and are in this excited, first date stage where they're learning more about your company. It is a growth engine, and it is all the people who are excited to buy your products and are thinking about it. One thing that is not listed on this chart, but I think is relevant to this: brands have a lot of email addresses. And I talk a lot, I won't really get into it today, about wanting to make sure you've got a good, clean list. But we've been doing an audit in our clients' accounts. And we found pretty consistently that about 40% of the active, engaged people on your email list are never buyers, right? Which means that your email is not just all of your customers who you have to keep hitting up again and again, and you're kind of overdoing it and driving them crazy and asking for too much. No, it's people who want to stay close. They want to be in affinity with your company. They want to learn about what you do, what you sell, all of that stuff. They're just not ready to buy today. So there's lots of opportunity to, of course, speak to that individual audience. But this is still true in 2025. We're still doing SMS. We're doing push notifications. We're doing all kinds of social messaging, but email is not a dying platform. I feel like this is one of the things I talked about the most at Smart Marketer Live. There was a question someone asked. They said, hey, what's the deal with cold email? Is this going to kill email marketing? And I said, I don't think so, right? I think cold email, that's maybe one of the downsides of AI, right? It's sort of pulled this low effort, scraped lists, emails from people who've never, ever gotten your attention at a single time trying to get you to convert. That's not going to be what email looks like, right? That's not where all this email revenue comes from. It's going to come from real, authentic customer engagement and growth, which I think is quite possible. And the good news is, right? We kind of hate the spam filter, we kind of hate the promotions tab, but all of that stuff is good because it enables us as marketers to continue to play this game longer and better. So email is not in its sunset era, right? You know, the what do you call them? Zillennials, the Gen Z folks, they are going to grow up and get office jobs just like the rest of us, and they are going to be in there and saying, "Man, it is 2:30 and I either need to drink a Red Bull or go buy something online to give myself a burst of energy." So, I would not count email out for a second, despite what you may have heard. So, expecting a massive growth there. And this is, I think, the craziest stat. So, email automation accounts for like 8 to 12% of sends overall. Kind of depends on which metric you're looking at. Those emails are worth so much more money, right? Email automation is 25 times more profitable than email broadcast, but nobody does any work on this because it's just the set it and forget it, right? Oh, I started my business and I put my welcome flow together and it featured a product that we don't even sell anymore, and it's got a picture of me from when I was, 23, and it's great. It's fine. People don't touch these emails, which is insane because you make so much more money with this email automation. Email automation is the absolute strongest lever. We shoot for our clients for ideally a 50-50 split of revenue from email automation and email broadcasts. That's with the idea that it's no more than 12% of total sends, right? So massively, massively more impactful because email automation meets a person who just bought, a person who's in consideration, a person who just figured out they've got a big problem they need to solve, probably with some kind of purchase. It meets them where they are, and it allows them to go on a journey, the optimal journey for exploring and considering a purchase from you. So it's a really, really powerful tool that I think we just get into brain off mode and don't really mess with it. So I think that's, if you take nothing else away from today, the number one thing I want you to do is say, hey, I need to spend at least 20 minutes thinking about my email automation because every tweak you make to that is going to be significantly more dollars in your pocket, more so than sending one extra broadcast email. Now, it's not that we don't want to do broadcasts. I love to drive a good, strong promotional calendar where I'm thinking about where do I want to direct attention and energy today. But you got to meet people where they are too, right? When they're shopping your website, when they're browsing, we need to make sure that we push them and nudge them in the right direction to say, hey, this is the product I need. Or, you know what, I was considering it. I'm actually going to take the leap and buy it because I feel assured. I found the guarantee. I found the social proof that I needed to buy in. So I really hope that's where our focus stays today. But before we get into our tactical example, we've got this just in. I don't think I'm ever going to do it as good as Ezra. I also, wearing this hat is very precarious. When Ezra says this just in, he's got like this full body motion, right? And I wish I had that level of enthusiasm in my body because what I've got to talk to you about today is probably, no, I'm scratching the probably, right? Full dramatic marketing level. We're tilting the hat forward for this. It is objectively the biggest opportunity for 2025 Black Friday and Cyber Monday. There is no question in my mind. And it is instant checkout in ChatGPT. So we all are kind of circling around this like ChatGPT. It's a tool we plugged into our business. It's something that's really interesting. We're trying to figure out how we can use this to cut down on headcount, right? This was my sort of big pound in the table theme at Smart Marketer Live. Everybody's talking to me about how do they use AI to haircut their expenses. Everybody says, how do I use AI to spend a little bit less money? I want to drop my, monthly expenses from 100,000 to 90,000. That's going to be the thing that changes my company's game. That is the craziest possible perspective I've ever heard. That is the least optimal mindset you could possibly have about AI because you know how many people can use AI in your company? However many people are in your company. Do you know how many people can use AI outside of your company? Somewhere between 360 and 8 billion, 360 million and 8 billion, right? A lot of people because consumers are using this tool. So when you're thinking about AI, when you're thinking about opportunity, if you're thinking, how do I save a little bit of money with AI? You're approaching this the incredibly wrong way. You need to be thinking, how do I leverage AI where I'm getting in front of people who are a perfect fit for my products? How do I get on this channel where it's like getting on TikTok when it started, where it's like getting in Facebook ads in 2014? My gosh, when Molly and I were running Facebook ads in 2014, they were so cheap. Every night I wake up in a cold sweat and think, I wish I'd spent $1 million more in 2015. It's just crazy. So I think that's the big mental shift I want you to have. And this is the perfect venue for that, right? Instant checkout in ChatGPT. So I've got some things that you need to know about this, and then I'm going to show you in real time what it looks like. So this rolled out September 29th. The official, like, it's finally starting, but your products are probably not for sale yet in ChatGPT because it rolled out with one single seller, Etsy. So right now, if you've got an Etsy store, your products can be bought with one-click checkout in ChatGPT, which is pretty darn cool. Really interesting start. And they've talked about Shopify's coming, Walmart's coming. They even kind of in their press release said, hey, what are some big name brands we're working more directly with that we can shout out to make this seem more legit and awesome? Spanx, Skims, Vuori, or View. Uh, that company that starts with a V. I shouldn't even try to pronounce it. So legitimate big brands, right? Billion-dollar brands are coming to the platform as individuals. Platforms are coming to the table. Shopify, Walmart, huge, huge, huge opportunity. And the goal, no set date, the goal is for this to be a rollout in Q4 this year. So we know that it's coming. It's going to be US only. Etsy so far, we're going to look at that in just a second in real time. Here's the most interesting thing I think I heard, because I did some good deep research for this. Reuters reported that OpenAI is trying to figure out a way to take a cut from online product sales through this, right? With that Shopify integration. It's not firmed up yet. The details are not nailed down. This is kind of like somebody's texting their brother's cousin's friend and saying, hey, what's the deal with this? So we don't have all the details, but people talk a lot about how is ChatGPT going to monetize. They talk about ads. They talk about sponsor posts. Pep has some really interesting ideas on this. I think this might be one of the biggest things is they may just say, let's double, triple down on this being a traffic channel, because with Shopify, you are not going to have to do anything as far as updating your permissions, adding a new piece of software to your site in general. The Shopify data stream automatically is getting ported in already to ChatGPT, which is amazing. But we likely will have to accept some kind of new permissions, which may include some kind of a financial model. But this is going to be, for all the gift givers out there, absolutely the best thing you could possibly have, right? I don't think we're going to see this being the year of gift guides where everybody is going and Googling, okay, what do I buy for a 34-year-old female who already has da 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 da? Like, that's just not the way the game is going to be played this year. People are going to say, my Aunt Betsy is super hard to buy for, and I bought her this and she hated it, and I bought her this and she hated it. So help me teach her a lesson by buying her a present she loves, right? Horrible gifting attitude. Please don't approach gifting in that way. But I think that's going to be the model where people are saying, I'm going to dump tons of personal information in here to try to get the right gift for gifting overachievers, especially, but for everyone. It kind of puts it in easy mode. So we're really going to want to make sure that we're thinking about setting ourselves up to win in this platform. So if you are not a Shopify, Etsy seller, not a Walmart seller, chatgpt.com/merchants is a way to sign up for it. I don't think it's something where you're going to get a lot of lift as a super small brand. I think probably most people on this call are on Shopify, so I'm not super worried about you guys getting to take advantage. We don't know the exact rollout date, but we should be watching, because I think there's going to be a big, big opportunity to kind of jump in the first wave. Shopify, of course, is going to send out an email and say, hey, you can do this now. Make sure you're signed up and have this stuff approved. It might be a third-party app we just add in and plug it. Might be something where you have to fill out an extra form. I haven't found anything yet you need to do. And because they're pulling the data already directly, there's not going to be a ton of legwork. But there's two big tips I have, and then we'll just look at this in real time. Actually, I can show you in real time while I'm pulling up the two big tips. Let's do that. So, and I deleted all my embarrassing chats. So I was like, I don't remember what I was looking up. Sam got onto me. My Final Fantasy ChatGPT is in here. I think 2 and 5 or something like that. So I've never played before. I'm terrible at it, and luckily I've got a scapegoat. I can just say it's ChatGPT's fault. But let's see. So I want to buy a handmade gift made of clay featuring cats. Can you find me some good options for under on Etsy? So we'll let that cook. The two big opportunities. One, only single product purchases available in this right now. What does that mean? Why does that matter? Well, where do we make our money? Bundling, upsells, post-purchase cross-sells, all of that stuff. You're not going to have that in this platform right now. So what is the easiest, single most trick you could use right now to take full advantage of this? It is create product bundles on your site that are already made that can be featured here in ChatGPT. You don't have to sell single products if you create bundles that can be pulled in here. Why are these bundles good? Who are they for? Why are they special? This is the best opportunity for all of you on this call because it is a marketing challenge, not a technical challenge. It is a question of how do you take the products that already exist and say, hey, this isn't a coloring book for kids. This is a brain building strategy. And this pack of 5 coloring books for children is going to help them develop their emotional vocabulary and their fine motor skills. So for kids 3 to 5, this is the brain building fine motor skill development ultimate bundle. Probably come up with a better name than that. But the concept is extremely sound. Who's going to love all those keywords? ChatGPT. Who's going to find all those product bundles that exist in your store? ChatGPT. So you got to create that stuff now, right? And we can see what would my wife actually like out of this? She's not even that into cats, but I feel like if you're doing anything online as an example, you got to cat. She loves Christmas ornaments. So, of course, I find the one that just has the visit. Those are, here we go. So this one, you got it, right? There's a buy button right here. Pops up, loads payment method. So hopefully no one can do anything with the last 4 of those credit cards. A few different ways you can pay. Apple Pay, pay with a credit card, pay with this link, pay another way. So there's payment options built in here. Super quick, super easy, doesn't even pull you out of the platform. Payment is made. Fulfillment is going to be done normally, just like it would through a Shopify storefront. When it's for Shopify right now, it's obviously for Etsy. Kind of interesting because this one has a personalization component. I don't know how they fulfill that. I didn't pick this gift intentionally enough to actually buy it, so sorry, it's not that much of a real demo, but it's just a sign of what this holiday season is going to look like. It's going to be so weird to be digging into our data on where purchases are coming from because this is going to be, I think, a massive channel for people who do the optimization. So I said one of the big optimizations is bundles. The other one is the data feed that you have in your Shopify storefront. Having your products set up correctly as far as inventory tracking, as far as titles, descriptions, optimized keywords, and getting your metadata right. That's all stuff you need to do right now. That's not something where you say, hey, instant checkout's rolling out. When it does, I'm going to go through and clean that up. No, be ahead of the game on this. Spend the time. It's not something that's going to pay dividends in the next 5 days. It's something that is going to pay dividends in the next 5 weeks. That time optimizing that is going to mean you beat your competitors because you spent the time to go through and say, how do I create meaningful marketing language? How do I speak about how this is a giftable product? How do I think about what are the real benefits and applications of this? That is going to give you such an edge to beat everybody else playing this game. So, going to be the game changer this year, absolutely. Instant checkout and the agentic commerce protocol. And you don't have to go master this, right? You don't have to go build an agent and figure out this stuff, whatever. It's just built into Shopify. It is about as easy as it could possibly be, and it's going to drive the biggest sales lift in your business outside of email marketing. So, our action of the month. Nice natural segue, right? We've got it's very Monty Python inspired segment strategy. I've watched the Monty Python and the Holy Grail a million times. I own all the DVDs of the original Flying Circus TV show. All about segues. That was a big trick. And this segues into where the opportunity is. So we talked about the idea that email automation, way less emails, way more profit. What do you actually need to go do? Right? I think that's the thing. It's like, okay, I need to go work on this, but you go in there and you're like, damn, I got 12 flows. What am I supposed to do with these flows? I don't have time to update all of them. And so I'm just going to kind of click into them and sort of get lost because there's 80 emails in here and I take 0 action and nothing happens. No, we've simplified this. There's 3 big areas to focus. And all of this, like I said, is pulled from Omnisend's data. Business that does email marketing, SMS, push notifications, all kinds of amazing marketing automation stuff. Really, really good. And they analyzed 24 billion sent emails over the entire year, and specifically 1 billion sent emails during the Black Friday, Cyber Monday period of time. So all of this data is based on real storefronts where there was big opportunity and big lifts. And in general, it was around the idea that we really want to focus on the sales journey. The welcome flow, people have high buy intent. They're often looking for coupons, discounts, and education. Cart abandon. People are motivated. They're shopping. They are in consideration phase, but something has stopped them, right? The old school did life get in the way? My gosh. We ran that retargeting Facebook ad with just that copy for like 7 years, and it worked every single time. Life gets in the way sometimes. You need to be there when it happens. And then product abandon. When people are shopping, they are product interested, they are brand aware, they are looking to buy, but they don't know what's right for them, right? These are our 3 key moments. People have high buy intent. They're looking for a little bit extra for themselves. People are shopping and they get stuck. They get distracted by a deal or a conversation or a phone call or whatever. And people are interested, but they don't quite know where to go. So, how do we take advantage of each of these? Well, I want you to think for a second about when was the last time you updated these automations, right? While we're kind of noodling on this. So, everybody go in, answer the poll. Oh, wow. Out of the gate, strong performance from this audience. So, this may be no brainer take you guys 20 minutes to implement because we're seeing a lot of people have updated this in the last month. So very, very good job. But the truth is, I know lots of businesses, people who come work with us in the agency, people I met at Smart Marketer Live who said, oh, yeah, I need to do a little bit more with email marketing. It is really hard if you don't have a dedicated person or agency working on this to make it a priority. I think that is one of the things I see be the biggest struggle, independent of email in general, right? It's just like when you are where the buck stops for everything, you deal with the urgent problems, not the important problems. And this is an important problem, but it doesn't feel very urgent. But hey, I got to give massive credit. 42% of you have updated one of these three automations in the last month. That is fantastic. So, good news. You are way less likely to have the panic induced opening up flows and automation and trying to figure out what to do next. So, very, very good news there. But even if it's been 6 months or more than 6 months since you dipped in there, right? That's about half of y'all have been at least 6 months since you dipped in and started working on this. It's very, very easy. We're going to give you some simple things because it's all around thinking about what is the high seasonal intent. So, with welcome flows, what are people doing with a welcome flow? They are looking for a discount. Now, most people give 10 or 15% as the discount. What is a really lame sounding discount when someone is already offering you 20% off, 25% off? Well, 10%. Okay, why in the world would I want this 10% off coupon when you're already giving me more of that off elsewhere? So you have an opportunity to think, hey, I could either build this where I've got stacked discounts, where I'm setting it up where we can say, hey, not only do you get our Black Friday discount, you can stack this first purchase welcome flow discount with it to really get the most bang for your buck. People are going to be excited for that. Creating scarcity around that is super, super powerful. You also want to really push important stuff early. A lot of times with welcome emails, we like the slow burn. And I frankly love the slow burn. I always pitch it, but this is not the time for it. We don't say, okay, in 4 emails, we'll kind of start getting into the juicy stuff. We'll start talking about selling. No, put your best products out there. Put your best sellers out there. Re-flip the welcome flow. It is not a welcome flow where we warm them up to the sales pitch. It is a welcome flow where we start with the sales pitch and then we come back and keep them interested and excited with the personal touches and human connection. Timing. Timing is probably the easiest, bar none, optimization you can do for all three of these flows because the buying cycle is super fast, right? We're like 3x speed buying cycle for this period of time because everybody is shopping. And it's not something where you're shopping and you're like, all right, I need a new washer. So I'm going to spend 3 weeks thinking about what washer I want. I'm going to have a bunch of conversations. This is impulse shop time. So you need to make sure that you tighten up all of these windows and really make them happen much faster. Less than 12 hours, ideally, maybe right at 12 hours for that additional message. Trying to do this with all of them, right? It's much, much faster and it's a little different. One thing that I said is nice about automation is the idea that it fits the buyers at their time, right? So, okay, they opted in at 8 p.m. at night. Maybe 8 p.m. at night is when they can use their computer. But you want to make sure that your third message is hitting them at 8 p.m. at night the next day, right? Your second message needs to be 8 a.m. the next day because we're trying to increase the rapidity of this whole strategy. And probably the biggest, easiest lift for this SMS. If you are capturing phone numbers, you need to be reaching out to them. And you want to get it where the phone number and the email are tailored, not where they send at the exact same time, but where they are kind of stacked. So you get one, you get the other. You get one, you get the other. You want them to be well connected, but it's not two things, so I have to pick which notification I get. They kind of piggyback off of each other and remind them. So you give them a little zing with an email, and then 30 minutes later, you come back. An hour later, you come back and say, hey, don't forget about this deal. Go check out our top 3 products right now. So huge impact. Welcome flow is where we see probably the most profit in, I would say, every business that we work with in the agency. So it's the absolute easiest one to optimize because it's a blend of volume and profitability. Now, cart abandon is where you get the most money per email sent because you're reaching out to people who were so close. They put their credit card on the counter and then they got a text and lost their train of thought and disappeared from the buying cycle, right? It would be like if somebody went up to the register in J. Crew, put their clothes on the hook, and then beep, disappeared out of existence. All we got to do is pull them back to that exact moment where they were ready to make a purchase and get them to go. Historically, we do this 24 hours after, 48 hours after. You want to take all of your timing protocols and have them. You want to make them just twice as fast as they would otherwise be. So if it's 1 day before you send the message, less than that, right? It's half the time. I think it's even worth considering an email 1 to 2 hours. This is all based on Omnisend's sending data. What I would do for our agency clients is I would have a cart abandoned email that goes out 1 hour in, which is just, hey, don't forget about this deal. You don't have to offer discounting. You don't have to offer any additional incentives to purchase. You are just saying, hey, this is in your cart. Did you forget about it? Products are priced to move, and we run out of stuff sometimes, right? A little bit of urgency goes a long way. We had a ton of success. It's been 3 or 4 years since we were really kind of at the height of using this. But with the, hey, we've saved your order, we've reserved your order, we pulled this off the shelf for you, but you need to make a purchase within the next 72 hours to get it, tighten that down, right? That's 48 hours now. Great messaging. If you've got a super generic, bland cart abandoned, shifting that one towards the personalized order model is, I think, a really, really good way to do this. So we want to just in general think, how do we speed up the cycle that we're pushing people to purchase here? And then product abandon, it's a little bit different because people in welcome are pretty buy ready. They're still learning about the brand, but they're pretty much looking for a coupon. Okay, great. People in cart abandon, they already put stuff in their cart. They already got excited and started doing all this, right? They're pretty purchase ready. Product abandon, they're still trying to figure out what's the right thing for them. So I think this is one of the ones where there's the most opportunity to do some big picture swings. The other two, you're tightening up the timing, you're changing the message, you're pushing your best stuff to the beginning. You want to think here, what are your best products? It's not a question of what did this person look at? It's a question of, hey, this person looked at something and they didn't take an action. So how do I help them get unstuck? Well, let's point them not to what they think they want, but what they need, right? This is our moment to say, hey, people would have wanted a faster horse. What they needed was a car. How do you go through and analyze your products and say, okay, these are our best few SKUs. Let's shift these for anywhere that it makes sense to be the products that we're recommending. Hey, you were looking at this. This is a great product, but you also might be interested in boom, 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 our best seller, our most popular product by far. This product won an award. Using that messaging to highlight reasons that people chose those products is a really, really helpful exercise to push people in that direction. You want to make it super clear how to purchase, right? It's grab this today, get started. Live text, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but it is an extremely powerful lever where you're not just doing an all image email, but you're embedding actual text because just like we talked about with the ChatGPT stuff, embedded text is still how computers are reading stuff more than reading text on an image. So using live text is really, really high leverage here. Don't waste time on stuff that's not important. If you've got 1,000 SKUs, create a nice generic product abandon for 990 of them and the 10 that matter. They are going to have something a little bit more custom and specialized, and you want to push them to those best SKUs. And thinking about product, here's why customers love it, plus your offer, right? Anchor in the messaging of our holiday offer in here. One of the easiest things you can do that we do kind of across the board, independent of these timing changes and these messaging changes, is we'll put a banner in our emails that says shop our holiday deals. And our big philosophy for holiday shopping is that we always have a page that we're driving all the traffic to. It doesn't matter if it's Black Friday or Cyber Monday, if it's pre-Black Friday, if it's post-Christmas, none of that matters. We have the same page we drive all that traffic to where we're flipping whatever the current offer of the week, offer of the period is out. We just stick a banner in there that's generic enough that it can point to that page through the entire holiday season for our businesses and for our clients, and it works extremely well. So all of those are super, super high leverage, and they show people, hey, there's deals, there's reasons to shop, and there's a place I can go to understand what's going on right now. So, question. Which of these three automations can you update for immediate results? There you go. It's a test of engagement. And so special shout out to Renee Wood, the first person to respond. You get extra credit. When you come to Shopify, I'll let them know they should send a little extra traffic your way because you are paying attention. You got this game right. But that's right. All of these are high leverage. We don't need to do an update to welcome and not the other two. We don't need to do cart abandon and not the other two. You want to do a quick update to all three of these because it's going to take you very little time. We're adjusting the timing. We're maybe adding a holiday banner that's consistent season round. We're front loading our best stuff rather than letting it sit in the back. And we're trying to integrate these two things where they work better: SMS and email, SMS and push notifications, email and push notifications, trying to get it where it's multi channel touch as much as we can. Really, really easy. You can get the guide from Omnisend on this strategy, and they've got a lot more nuance. If you're hearing this and you're saying, okay, John, you made it sound pretty easy, except when I go into Klaviyo, when I go into Omnisend, I'm going to go click a bunch of different buttons and I'm not going to know which one to hit. This guide is going to give you even more specific tactical advice that's going to make it really, really easy for you to go and implement. This is going to take you at most 40 minutes. It's not a function of let's do a bunch of redesigning, right? It's a function of changing the bones, changing the infrastructure, changing the marketing touch points and strategy rather than it is getting lost in the muck and the mire of design stuff. Design has its place. It's very, very useful. But that's not what we need right now. We need to just go in and make these quick optimizations and get ready for the holiday season. Now, you don't have to start them today, but I do think it's worth going through this guide, getting your plan together, and figuring out exactly how you want to implement, because you're going to want to be able to turn this on right when you shift into your holiday sales mode. And one of the big things we know is this is coming faster than it used to. So we need to be ready to do this probably at the beginning of next month. Maybe even some people are going to be starting in October. So getting ready to do it fast is really helpful in having your plan laid out. Quick plug, just because we're talking about Omnisend, one of our partners, like we said, fantastic business to work with. You actually still have time if you feel like you're not with the right tool, if you don't think you've got strong automation capabilities, if you don't think you're getting the deliverability you need to migrate, because they have a fantastic migration team. I helped lead with one of our team members the migration of one of Ezra's brands to Omnisend. Of course, I love email. I made it a little slower than it had to, but their team literally did the migration in 24 hours. It was all ready to go and ready to start up. We just did a little bit of list forming after that, which didn't take much time at all. And for a limited time, you can get your first 3 months for half off with the code SMART. So get that guide, read it. If you're interested, you'll find a link in there, smartmarketer.com/omnisend, where you can go use that code and get started. And I think it's really important to make sure you've got the right tool. It doesn't mean you need to change. As someone that has led lots and lots of tech migrations, it's not my favorite project, but we moved Ezra's brand SafeSleeve from MailChimp to Omnisend, and I think we increased their automation with no additional emails by $100,000 a year in revenue. So automation is definitely where the money is. Definitely something to check out. All right. Last bit we've got for you here. Copy this win. So we've got lots of wins. We send a lot of emails for clients, but this I think is one of my favorite because it does the two things that I like about email. Makes money, right? Going back to the Viking pillaging the inbox here, right? We are going to make money when we send this email out, but also it does what I think is really kind of the key function, the way that email is a little bit better than some of the other options, which is it builds some humanity into the message. It's not a generic brand. It's not something that's flashy. It's not something designed to be super pretty. It's something designed to make a connection. And that is where the money gets made with email marketing, right? Connection, interest, curiosity, personality. All of those things are so important. And the founder email is, I think, the best encapsulation. We have a few clients where we send this email something like once a month at this point, some variant of this, because it's just so darn effective. So a founder email, it's a plain text email from the brand's founder that looks more like a personal message rather than a branded message, right? Pretty simple concept, but very, very high impact when you use it. We use these in brands that are basically blind brands where you don't even know who the founder is. We'll pull their name out. We'll pull them forward and say, hey, you never hear from me. I'm the person behind this business that you know so much about. We've helped all these people. We've helped all these animals. We've helped all these XYZ, whatever it is. We do this because we love it. We do this because we care. Here's what I want to ask you to do today. We do it with brands that are super influencer forward, right? Where it's like, hey, you already know the key name of this brand. This is just a natural extension of the way you're already communicating with them. So it looks human. This is, I think, the secret, right? It's not even sort of this like emotional marketing component, but it's showing Gmail or Yahoo or whatever, any of those platforms, right, where people are checking their personal email. It's showing them that, hey, this email is more like an email you get from a family member. This email is more like an email you get from a friend or your boss. So it lands in the primary inbox way more likely. And engagement is just objectively better there. Now, if you specifically sell to B2B people, you have a little bit more immunity from this because we don't really have the promotions tab in the B2B. It's all in one kind of linear run. But for anyone selling to the average consumer, which I bet is most people on this call, it is a huge lever. It's relational, right? It's got the tone that I talked about a person's voice instead of a brand's voice. It doesn't feel as marketing heavy, and it drives massive action. And it's got a super easy call to action. It's not people making a bunch of decisions, not people getting lost in the sauce. It's people saying, hey, this is the thing to go do. We found even on kind of a smaller scale, cutting extra links out of emails is an easy way to drive more direction in the right way, get people to actually go buy the thing you want. This is kind of the logical furthest place you can drive it, where we just have an email that is all text, one link, nothing else. So here's an example from a brand, Nutrafol. Worked with them a ton. This was like the craziest month they ever had in their business. We got in 30 days something like 90% of the revenue that they bring in their Black Friday season. So we didn't quite beat Black Friday, but in the 3 months later, being able to get Black Friday level results from email marketing is pretty amazing. 3.4% click-through rate on this email, 36,000 pounds in revenue, 0.7% placed order rate. You wouldn't look at this email and think this was a powerhouse, but it is. This email absolutely crushed it. It was their fourth best email that was not sent during Black Friday, Cyber Monday holiday season, right? Third best email that was sent at a different time of the year. And it's just, hey, we're these people. We do this. Here's the impact we've had. Here's what we want you to do. Go shop a sale. It's still a selling message. I see Brad saying, oh, you're doing this to do sales, not just engagement. We do this for engagement too in the welcome series. We do this occasionally when we've got a good piece of content, but largely it is the secret ultimate lever for a promotional campaign. When you say, hey, we want a little extra oomph, do this. We say, hey, this is a new product. We really have a lot of, weight behind. We want to get strong with it. I got the guns out in this Viking outfit. When you want to get the guns out, founder email, right? It just works so darn well. Personal connection gets into the primary inbox, clear call to action, very, very, very effective. I've seen it so many times. Some people are like, I don't know. I don't really like that look. So we've done other variants of it, right? We did this with another brand. Really, really good. They wanted to stick a little bit more to their aesthetic. They didn't want to get too into the just like, hey, this is like something that you get from, forward, copy. No, they wanted to keep their templating, keep their social media logos. Still, I can't share the numbers for this one, but it drove a ton of extra revenue. We had a series of 3 or 4 emails that we did that were founder style for the VIPs for this business, and they were really effective, way higher engagement, way more click through. And the split test really showed this was a huge lift. So whether you want to do this as a one-off email during any season of the year, whether you want to do this as a special way to do high touch to your VIPs who are a little more connected, there's no wrong way. It's just about cutting out images and really shifting that text to image ratio in favor of text. Really, really simple. I always say, make your emails look like they're from grandma, right? That's basically like the easiest way you can think about this, because whose emails, my dad is more my email buddy who sends me emails where you're kind of like, why'd you send me this? But he sends me those meme emails where one of his old buddies sends him 87 cartoons in a single email. And you know what always winds up in my primary inbox with a star next to it, with a little flag next to it? The most spammy email you've ever seen in your life, right? Modern day chain email, because it looks like it's coming from a real person. So you can build that same structure to this, right? It's something where you say, hey, what do you want to do for dinner tonight? Hey, you want to go quick shop the sale real fast. Get that kind of casual vibe in it. It works incredibly well. So personal and curiosity driven, using the founder's real name. That is key for building one of these. You want to keep it conversational. You want to use first name. It is nice when you've got those personal details to fit them into the email where you can. Short email. 4 to 6 short lines. Don't overfill it, right? This is truly the essence of the email's job, is to get the click, not to make the sale. You don't need to overdo this at all. Touching a little bit on how the offer connects to Black Friday, Cyber Monday can be really good for your first test with this. Really clear, direct CTA. One sentence with a hyperlink, no button, no formatting. You get maybe a little bit of bolding, maybe a little bit of italicization. That's it. And then a sign off from a real name, right? This came from yours truly, John Grimshaw. This comes from a person, not from a brand, not from a business. It comes from the heart. And it works. It drives meaningful, real growth. So here is an awesome prompt that Arian put together for you guys to go get one of these written by ChatGPT. right? We'll have this available for you at the link. Really simple though. Write a plain text founder email for my brand. Make it sound human, personal. I love this concept. And if you feel like, yeah, I'm super stuck, I don't really know how to write one of these, do this. And hey, send it into Smart Marketer Support. I'm happy to take a look at it. It's something that is just such an easy softball. I think everyone should try this. If you are on this call right now, I absolutely recommend you say, okay, what is the most important part of my sale? Is it Black Friday itself? Do we have some big holiday push? Are we really more Cyber Monday focused? Whatever your biggest sale opportunity is, say, where does this email type fit into that puzzle? I'm going to add this to whatever it is I'm doing, and you're going to see this will be no question one of your top 5 emails you send in this period of time. Good chance it's one of the top 1 or 2. It works incredibly well. So I really, really want everyone to raise their hand, make that commitment to yourself. I can spend the 8 minutes that I need to write this, get it in the builder to drive meaningful extra revenue for my business this year. So, one other thing I want to talk about, which is kind of like the logical, natural extension of this, right? Design and email. There we go. Design is a really great part of email. And when we started running our email agency, I was like, screw design. We're not going to do any design. Forget that. We're going all text based because we know it makes the most money. It is how we play the game. And here I am, full on humble pie and crow and whatever else you're forced to eat when you're wrong, because design is something that people care about more than anything else. Even though plain text emails make you the most money, but you have to find a beautiful balance, right? And I think it was the coming together of worlds, because people that do all image emails wind up in spam or in the wrong place in the promotions tab or the social tab, right? You wind up in the inbox where you don't get good visibility and people don't buy your stuff and they can't see what's important because the machine is not able to read the images clearly. And image alt text is helpful, but it's not a replacement for true live text where you have actual text in the email HTML. So we shoot for the hybrid approach where we layer images together with live text. You get really pretty design. You get this fun brand image and feel. You get better deliverability, and you get higher overall engagement. So the hybrid structure works super well. I've got 2 examples for you. So this is one of our
John, can
clients.
you hear me?
Yes.
I realized you had a vest on, and I can't take you seriously with the furry vest.
I got guns out, Molly, vests on. I mean, you said bring it and I brought it. I think I could take a Ninja Turtle on in this
I
costume. So
love the horns, but they made
it's
your video bigger on my screen.
it's hard to get in frame for this for sure.
I realized you had a vest on. So I took some pictures for the team. You
Oh
made my
no.
day.
Yeah, this, normally I'm like, hey, it's great. I love cross posting to YouTube. This one I'm a little like, oh boy, someone is going to show me this in 2 years, and I'm going to say, man, I need to finish that time machine so I can go back and undo this. But when in
All
Rome.
right. Sorry to interrupt. We just needed more visuals of the guns. Thank you. That'll be a
Yeah, there you go.
meme.
Yeah, that's
Oh, let's go.
yeah. Screenshot everybody. Get ready. No, I run lean, right? I'm more like Karate Master, where we're using strategy to win the fights, and that's why we optimize our emails where we have design and text because we're optimizing the strategic play over time. So, um, but yeah, I want to show you this example from a client. So, RedDrop, great brand we work with, really, really wonderful people. Brand that has some challenges. They sell period kits for young women. So for people getting ready for having the first period. So it's one that's kind of like you got to wait for that right moment. You got to be in there and in that conversation. You really got to have a lot more connection. They with the brand they were with before or the agency had a lot more image-based emails, which look nice. It's a pretty email. There's no question. But they were getting like a 0.2% click rate and they were making on average, right? This is kind of a generic for these Friday fun emails they send out about $850 a mail, which is it was profitable, but it was very exciting. Um, Shifting towards the design plus live text, meaning there's literally text written into an HTML box in that email. Still has a design background, still looks nice. The click rate doubled, and the revenue per email more than doubled, right? From 850 to 1900 or so on average. So it's not a function of a much, much bigger list. It's not a function of a much, much different product line. It is a function of shifting the design of this because the inboxing for that second email, the balanced design, is so much higher. Open rate is not really a predictive measure anymore. It doesn't mean we don't look at it. It doesn't mean it doesn't matter, but it's a much less useful signal. Click rate is the number one best way to measure not just is this email good or bad, but am I getting to the inbox, the place where I need to be? A clean email list is probably the easiest lever for that. And the second one is having a well designed, balanced email that has some text embedded in it so that Gmail and Yahoo and all those other platforms can actually read the email. And then this was an example that my team member sent me right before this call. So I didn't design it as much, but I thought it was fun to show. Boom is retiring Boom Clean, a product they had for a long time. So they only sent this to the people who had bought the product, enjoyed it, kept buying it. Not a huge segment, not a huge audience. The click rate on this, pretty good overall, right? 1.5 for email A with the image, 2.04 for the second email with no image. But the purchase amount, significant difference, right? About $780 versus about $1,450. So way more money for that email that went without the image. Now, this doesn't mean don't put pictures in your email. It doesn't mean images are bad. Design is a great way to build trust, right? People recognize, hey, this came from a real brand because it's a well-designed email, which is why the plain text emails can be real punchy because they are pattern interrupt. But overdoing it on the design elements is definitely one of the biggest ways that you can kill your email's performance because it gets so focused on the look and the feel, which is fun. And younger brands, I think design is a little bit more important. Not to say it's Boom's audience or younger. It's like more like people in their 20s. The design, I think, is slightly a bigger factor, but really, really huge opportunity in pushing more text into your email because it just gets you better inbox placement every single time. And, 5 years from now, it's not going to be as big of a deal because they're going to be better at having the AI in their systems go through and read the images. But right now, this is kind of the easy hack to get better lift and better deliverability. So, what is your 60-minute Q4 email checklist, right? What is it you need to do? 60 minutes. That's all we got on the clock. We got to speed run it. I time my son a lot. It's the fastest way to get him to do something. Number one, update your flows. Update your welcome flow, your cart abandon, and your product abandon. You need to have those three updated because 25 times more profit from email automation than email broadcasts. You're spending all of your time thinking about your calendar, which matters. You're going to make more money from updating that automation. The best thing you can do is obviously do both. Number two, pick your biggest sales lever, the most exciting period of your sale. Add a founder email into the mix. Nice and short, super easy. Use that really, really handy ChatGPT prompt to get it written. Send it into Smart Marketer Support if you want feedback on it. Not hard to do, but very, very big for the bottom line. And maximize inbox placement. When you're thinking about your emails, we love to think about, hey, what do we want to say in this? What are the visuals we want to incorporate? All that's good. You need to include in that sort of checklist, where are we going to put real text into this email template and design? Where are we going to put an HTML block that has a colored background so it blends in with the design, but it has actual text rather than all just being embedded in an image? Really, really helpful to get a big lift. So that's really all you need to do to have a winning Q4 with your email marketing. Now, there's lots more you can do. Obviously, check out Smart Marketer's blog or YouTube channel to see all kinds of other things that work great. Grab that super helpful resource from Omnisend to get more on it, or go check out our YouTube channel, which has clips and replays of the show. This is it the 10th show? I think it is. I might be the 9th show. It's 9th. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I was about to get a high on, who you bring in. You bring in the big guns for the 10th show, right? I better flex when I do that. It looks real bad. It's not very good even when I do flex. This is mostly for Molly's benefit. She's going to tease me about this for 10 years. But definitely recommend checking out some of our great content. Something I will shout out, not specific to the show, but worth watching. Pep, one of our co-founders, had a great video about the Andromeda update. Really, really interesting. Probably our most watched YouTube video this year. We've got a big plan to kind of revamp YouTube in 2025. But if you haven't seen that video, go watch it because Andromeda is changing the game and you want to be ahead of the curve on it. And of course, we always love it when you guys share the Smart Marketer Show with friends, family, business partners, business friends. We are super excited to get on here and do this every single month. Really, really fun. Tons of great content we can share with you. And just nice to stay connected, right? We love being here with all of you guys. But obviously, we want to get in front of more friends, in front of more people that we can help and get them to kind of fix their stuff because it's getting harder out there, right? It feels trickier than it did 10 years ago. And it's going to feel even trickier 10 years from now. So I hope everyone is able to start implementing winning strategies like this sooner rather than later. It's not a game of 10 years from now, I'll have it all figured out. It's like, how do I start doing this today? So if you've got anyone you think needs a little bit of lift in their business, share Smart Marketer with them, share the show. And one more time, special shout out to Omnisend, our sponsor, who really, really enjoy the team, really, really enjoy Regis, the CEO and founder. I think they're just a great company, lots of integrity, right? They are bootstrapped, which I think is the most fun thing about them, kind of like Smart Marketer. There's no investor money driving up those costs on a monthly, yearly, quarterly basis, right? They are in this for the long haul. 150,000 brands using that platform, making lots of money. So you can be one of those and get a great deal with smartmarketer.com/omnisend with the code SMART to get your first 3 months for half off.
All right, John, you
Cool.
ready for some questions, buddy?
Yeah, let's do it. Let me
All right.
close this
Micah
door.
says, you said Ezra's brand moved from MailChimp to Omnisend. What's the thinking behind not keeping all customer emails in Klaviyo?
Well, Klaviyo is also a great tool. We have clients using Klaviyo. We have some brands on Klaviyo, but we said, hey, we need to move because MailChimp is not the right tool for us. And Omnisend, not just because that's our partner, right? They're paying just like any other brand. It's cheaper than Klaviyo for high volume sending companies, right? Klaviyo, there's a model where it's more like you're charged per send. With OmniSend, it's more of a flat fee model where you can send 25 emails for the same price that you're going to send 15 emails. So if you're playing a true volume game and you have a good direct response strategy with email, it's cheaper in that way. Better integration of SMS and email, push notifications included for free. And we just are making a bet on that platform, right? Klaviyo, still a great tool, right? I really enjoy using it, but it is kind of the I don't know, Molly. What's a car that's like overbuilt? I don't know anything about cars. I guess you don't know anything about cars either. It is whatever. It is the Tesla, the big boxy Tesla, right? It is like it is bells, it is whistles, it is shine, it is flash, but it's a lot of things that really you don't need, right? You need a good old fashioned car that's going to get you where you're going, keep you safe. Uh, Omnisend's got all the parts that you need. Klaviyo's got all these crazy reporting features, which when you're in an agency actually is pretty nice. When you're a regular brand, you want affordable pricing, you want a good tool, you want reliability and deliverability. And Omnisend has all that for a better price, and they're not really beholden to somebody else. So they don't have to keep making it more and more expensive. I think that's been probably the biggest pain point. It's just like, dang, email is getting more expensive. Now, luckily, that 42% or 42x ROI is not going away because it gets slightly higher every year, but the costs are also going up. And our bet with Omnisend was that we would keep the cost down while having great partners who are really invested in the long term.
How do founder emails perform without sales, like for a warm up, reintroducing the brand before Black Friday?
Great
So, more
question.
from an
So
engagement standpoint.
they perform well. It's harder to measure. So you want some kind of call to action, but it doesn't have to be a purchase. But we use founder emails in our warming sequence. So there's a whole blog post I've got somewhere on the Smart Marketer blog where I talk about warming up your email list for kind of getting back in the game, right? And it doesn't have to be for Black Friday specifically, but anytime you haven't really been emailing well, when you've kind of just like let things crash, you maybe have overmailed your list and not provided enough value. We do a kind of hard reset with our email warming strategy, and we always have a founder email in the mix there where it's kind of that personal touch and connection. As long as you have a CTA that makes sense, it gets good clicks, it gets great engagement. It's something that's really going to drive yourself into the inbox. Absolutely recommend including those. The thing is, they work well because they're a pattern interrupt. So I would say no more than once a month. And probably for the average brand, it's something you don't want to use more than once every 2 months or once a quarter as like an extra little umph. Because if you did it every other week, you lose a little bit of that power, right? You can instead design emails more like that Numi one that are kind of a little bit more hybrid, where they've got a little bit more of the design element, but still lean a little heavier into the text to get a similar feel without maybe wasting all of your engagement and mojo of the founder email.
John, Brad said, and I know you covered this on the first Smart Marketers Show episode that you were on, the idea of doing a warming sequence. I think that was episode 2 or 3. Brad said, we started the warm up sequence last week to recent clickers, 10% click through rate on the first in the series.
Brad, you earned a show of the guns. Very, very nice. I will say, huge shout out to Brad first. Everyone give him a little. Brad, you get you get the Ezra Firestone Classic. Brad, hold your hand up. I'll wait long if you do it. Brad, turn your hand around. Give yourself a pat on the back because that is fantastic. Or a thumbs up emoji. That works too. The thing that you don't even realize about this, Brad and everyone, it's like it's great because you see one of those emails and you say, "Man, that looks good. I'm pumped about that." But it is a snowball of engagement. The reason we do this warm up strategy is not just because we say, hey, we got 5 emails that got a really good click rate. Awesome. It's because Gmail says, whoa, the last 5 emails these people sent got a 10% click rate. Why are we not making that the first email somebody sees when they go to their inbox? Because the engagement is huge. People care about this. So you're building a machine that gives you better inboxing placement for a longer period of time and striking a balance between that warming strategy, which you kind of want to do maybe once a year, and then trying to get more value led emails into the mix, I think is the key secret. But that's super, super cool.
All right, y'all. Any more questions for the Viking? John, I was making fun of you and they reminded me that I was in a turtle costume. So, that was humbling.
You know what? We can bring it, right? It's not about what you're wearing, it's about how confident you are. I
Yeah,
feel like
John,
next year we'll find an even sillier costume and bring the same level of excitement. So
I'm down with the horns. I just really didn't expect the vest. So, I need to see this in person the next time I
I got
see
a full
you.
jerkin on Molly. I've got like the top here, like I didn't wear them because nobody could see it, but I've got brown leggings. My son for his first Halloween went as toothless because guess what? A 3-month-old is. They are toothless. So he was the little toothless dragon, and I don't remember the character's name, Hip or Pip or Bop or Lop or something like that, uh,
Uh,
from the
Amanda
How to Train Your
says,
Dragon movies.
my toddlers are loving the costumes. Lots of questions from them, not marketing related. Glad we can be of service there, Amanda. Chloe, what's up, Chloe? She says, do you guys use retention.com to auto capture emails of site visitors who didn't manually submit their email? Any thoughts? Yeah, we have a lot of brands that use retention or something like that.
Yeah, there's a ton of tools that do the same thing. It really depends on the brand. There's 3 or 4 that do it, and I really love the way they do it. Um, but I definitely have seen people do it in a way that feels like not very good. So I think the key is like you want to keep those emails informative. You want to make sure that like you're really capturing the audience that cares, and you need to make sure you're a brand where it makes sense. We tried it with some brands, and it was just like people would say, how did you get my email? What are you doing? But if you're kind of a, good general brand that works for a lot of different consumer types, like I think it is a great play, especially if you're driving high volume traffic, because it's a great way to sort of get a little more bang for your buck, right? If you're kind of a small, more focused on people finding you organically, you don't necessarily need it, but it's something that lets you just get that extra 5% conversion that you're looking for, or 5% lift on conversion. It's not going to increase the raw number 5%, which can be really, really helpful with paid media right now.
Yeah, John, I especially love it for something simple like a abandoned cart.
Yep. And yeah, Renee said it's off brand for me, to be fair. I think that's the biggest thing. Like there's no good or bad to it. It works, but it's something that can turn people off. You just need to think, hey, is this like, does it kind of fit what we're doing? Does it not fit? More aggressive brands that are real like fun and super crazy, kind of get away with it a little bit more. Brands that are a little bit more like trying to lead with this like stronger, like personal connection element. It's a little bit harder to be like, hey, let's have a real personal relationship, even though you didn't technically give me your email.
All right,
Cool.
John. Other John says, does Smart Marketer have any resources or frameworks on structuring email marketing services for clients? Just quit my 9 to 5 to go full time with my new agency. Congrats, dude. That's so exciting. We do not have anything like that. We don't really produce content directly for agencies, and that's intentional. But I don't know, John, maybe this is something we can talk about next time. There's a lot to it. I will say of the 4 or 5 services that we offer, email is the most complex. So, John
It's
really
crazy.
heads that up. There's a lot to it. There's so many little moving parts, even compared to media buying. So yeah, I don't know if you want to touch on that a little bit, John, or other John, if you have specific questions.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, just go through smart email marketing. Like when we first started the email agency, it was just like, hey, do this for clients. Like since then, we've added lots of layers. It's a big team to support it, but there's so many
Yeah,
little
lots of
nuances. There's a lot
humans.
of checks. Like it's been better for us to grow it, but it is not something that can be described effectively in a 3 second or a 3 minute answer to a Q&A because it took 3 years to really nail it down. Now it's super scalable, but it's it's a beast, but it's fun. And the good news is if you're small, you can kind of get by with just like grit and hustle on it. Like I essentially ran this for a few brands between when I worked at Digital Marketer and when I worked at Smart Marketer, and as long as you're there showing up and kind of being the coordinator, you're all good.
All right, Viking, any last thoughts?
Uh, email marketing, it's not dying, right? I feel like that was just like a weird thing for people to tell me at Smart Marketer Live, and I was just every time I was just like, "What are you talking about? Email marketing is still insanely profitable. It does not matter who you're selling to or what you're selling. It is a way that people convert and buy. And there's going to be new channels that come to the mix, but it's not about this channel or that channel. It's about yes and, right? That's the general strategy. So my clarion call, right, Viking horn style is go out 60 minutes, do the updates. You guys are going to be very happy with the extra revenue that you get in and say, hey, that was my best Black Friday, Cyber Monday ever. And it's all because I listened to a Viking.
Bernard, thanks for all the engagement. Good to see you, John. You just almost made me pee my pants. So that's gonna be cut up as another little meme there for you, buddy. All right, Sandy, don't get stuck in any more elevators. Ariane, thank you so much for I think this is the episode we've laughed the most. So thanks for dressing up, John. It made it fun. I just want
Yeah.
to like toss some rings on your horns now.
Yeah.
So we might have to have a turtle versus
Cable
Viking.
management system, right? There you
Sure.
go.
All right, new product. Renee, thanks. All we need to do is just dress up and it makes me laugh. So, all righty. John, thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Zach,
Thanks everyone for
thanks for
showing up.
making
Super
all
fun to
this
see you all.
work. Leonardo, thanks, y'all. See you next time. Bye, guys. See ya.